Hello and welcome to Let the Play Develop, the podcast where if we get all four hosts in the same room, the apocalypse is near.
It's
So
true.
we have a fun episode for you. Just to clarify, we are a sports podcast. In case this is your first time here, we have a good episode though. Me and Steven are the most entertaining members of the podcast,
And
so
most
you actually still
knowledgeable
get
for
the
sure.
same. Exactly. So you get this. Chris is gonna hate that. You're gonna get the same level of quality of episode that you would normally get. Just kidding. We love our co-hosts, but they have other engagements. So we're gonna start out
They're
this episode
engaged.
by rank.
They're engaged
Neither one
to
of
each
them are
other.
engaged
To each other.
to
Yeah.
each other. Okay, that makes sense as to why they can't be here.
Yep.
The top 5 shooting guards is coming up next. This is a ranking, so I fortunately don't have to battle Steven for my shooting guard pick. This is based on the idea of the top shooting guard going into the 2023-2024 season.
Yep.
And then after that, we're going to go with a draft. So I will have to compete with Steven. He is the draft god, according to Chris. So
And Chris knows what he's talking about in that regard.
Top 5 most hated NBA players. We gave you the most likable NFL players, so we're flipping it around on both ends there to give you the top 5 most hated NBA players. Sorry, not talking about Ndamukong today. All right,
Aw.
so we're gonna kick it off.
What if he's on my
our
list
top shooting
anyway?
guards. He's so hated that he's just in the NBA list. That's
Yeah.
wild. I already told you my number one. I ruined the surprise. And this is a pick a lot of people might not agree with. I picked Donovan Mitchell. I just think that all the cards are on the table with him because all these higher level shooting guards like Harden, Clay's already kind of hit the downslope. Bradley Beal is going to be in a weird spot. So I think the cards are laid out perfectly for him to be one of the best shooting guards in the game because besides Darius Garland on his team, who's taking all his shots? Donovan's going to have the ball in his hands. And I'm not saying numbers are going to be like the end all be all for being a top shooting guard, but it certainly helps when you can make your case by shooting the ball. And Donovan Mitchell had a great year last year, and he has not reached his peak yet. So,
Got you. Well, I don't necessarily disagree, but I did go a different direction. I took Devin Booker number 1. I just think he has a good chance to be, because to me in the playoffs, he was the best player on that Suns team. And so he has a chance to be the best player on a championship winning team this year. And so to me, that just bodes well for his chances of being the best shooting guard next year. He looked great. Ironically, I think them getting rid of a point guard might put more on Devin Booker to facilitate, help that team run its offense. I know Bradley Beal's supposedly going to be their point guard, but I like Devin Booker. I think he has a great chance to be the best shooting guard next year in the NBA. Might already be, but
no, I think he's got a great shot. I think the biggest knock against Donovan is he's 6'1", so that is tough. But he did drop 71 last year, so. But in terms of D Book, I have him at 2. The only reason I didn't put him at 1 was the addition of Bradley Beal. I feel like it would take away from his role within the offense. Now it is Devin Booker's team, but it's just going to be hard to find touches when you have 3 ISO players together like that. And the way Brooklyn went with that situation, I'm not too high on Phoenix. Phoenix can easily win a chip if they get it together and it clicks. But if they don't, we could be looking at Brooklyn 2.0, Katie's foot on the line. So,
yeah, the only thing I really have to say about that is I'm very interested to see, like, not even saying the Suns are going to be that great. I just want to see how they're going to run an offense because even in Brooklyn, all ISO players, James Harden was still like playmaking at a high level. He was getting 10 assists a game. And obviously, I think Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, any one of those could, because I think Devin Booker is an underrated playmaker. It's just like when you can shoot better than the guy beside you, why pass it to him? But I think Devin Booker could easily get a lot of assists. But they do not have a point guard on the entire roster, so I'm curious to see how they're going to go.
That is a good point. I mean, Phoenix is the mystery of the upcoming season.
For
Who's your
sure.
number two?
All right, so at my number two, I have your number one, Donovan
Oh, we
Mitchell.
just flip flopped.
Yeah, I won't go too much into detail. I just like Devin Booker slightly more because, like you say, he's a little bit taller and he relies on shooting. And I don't know. I feel like the shooting. I know it's a little bit more spotty. Like it might be there a game, it might not be there a game, compared to some finishers. But I don't know. I like Devin Booker. So
I still unironically feel like Donovan Mitchell's a better dunker than Devin Booker, even though he's
oh no,
shorter.
he is for sure.
Donovan Mitchell just gives me like a young Dwayne Wade vibes. I don't know what it is. Like I just
I
like
mean,
his play style. He kind of
I get
I don't
that.
know.
I do.
It's not exact, but there's a parallel there. They were really comparing him to him his first year in the league. But my number three pick, this is what I'm really excited about. Honestly, I didn't know he was classified as a shooting guard, which is on me. I knew he could play it, but I have Anthony Edwards at three. He is a rising star. Beyond that, he's the best player on the Timberwolves, and that's a team with Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. So that's something to be said for his talent. Uber athletic, like next
Mm.
LeBron type athleticism vibes. Like he has the athleticism we thought Zion should have if he was on the court, and he has that dog in him. There's no other way to put it. That man has a mentality that few players in the league has. And once again, I think the league is opening up for him to slide in and take his top shooting guard position next year.
All right, no, I love that call. So just to forecast, we are doing what we think for next year. So this year doesn't actually have a role other than maybe what we feel like they could do going forward. So it's this year. That being said, I think Anthony Edwards had a case to be top, at least top five shooting guard last year. I think, like you, he will be the third best shooting guard in the NBA. I have him here too. I love Anthony Edwards. First of all, he, like you said, he has like a mentality that I feel like a lot of NBA players are missing. He's someone that if he's 50% the whole year, he's playing 82 games. Like that's the kind of guy Anthony Edwards is. I love the way he plays. I think Anthony Edwards is a fantastic player, and just obviously this has nothing to do with his ranking. But if you get a second, you should 100% look at the podcast. Playoff P with Paul George, and when he had Anthony
Oh yeah.
Edwards on as a guest, oh dude, that was great. So
And hey, Anthony Edwards, if he doesn't have a career in basketball, he's got one in acting. So
yeah,
what was that movie he was in with
I
Adam
can't even
Sandler?
think of what you're talking
What
about.
was
I
it
know. I
called?
mean,
It
I know
was
what you're talking about,
it was
but
he played the number other prospect. But that was such a good movie, and Anthony Edwards kind of made that movie playing the villain role, and I think he kind of has that potential to be that villain role in the NBA too. So that's
yeah. So I
fascinating.
really like him.
I mean,
So
he's
so
very
far,
likable, but
our top three is the same three players. Might be a little bit of a different order, but same
yeah.
three. So let's see if that changes going into number four.
Number four, I have someone I classify as a shooting guard, played a lot of point guard recently, James Harden. I think he's still got enough talent. He hasn't gone off the edge yet. He's the leader in assists last year. He can still score the bucket, and if he ends up on, I think he wants to go to the Clippers. Him playmaking for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, if they all sit together, would be nasty. And now I think we're going to see a little bit of more of Kawhi Leonard because of the new CBA rules. Paul
Mm-hmm.
George can't help it. He gets hurt. He likes to play. But um, all I can think of is like Paul George, like doing a 360 dunk, and then they're like, "Oh, he's hurt." It's like, well, dang it! Like he's finally
Yeah.
back. But Harden, I'd say he's the best ISO baller of our generation. If he's not getting a bucket, he's getting fouled. A lot of people
Mm.
hate him for that play style, but you can't deny the points and you can't deny his ability to pass the rock either. So number four.
Hey, no, I like it. All right, so this is, like I said, our first three players were the same. I think this is where the list can go in different directions, and this is probably where my list gets controversial. Again, we're forecasting for the future, so I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to at number four take Mr. Josh Giddey out of
Oh,
Oklahoma City.
you did it.
I did
Okay.
it. Listen, and I have a good amount of reasons why. To me, he now James Harden might be the only shooting guard that has a higher level of playmaking than Josh Giddey, in my opinion. But that being
Hmm.
said, I think James Harden will probably be taking a step down in terms of his production and things. Obviously, I fully expect there to be a game or two where he drops like 35 to 40 points, just like go because that's who James Harden is. He gets buckets. But I think overall, season long, you're gonna see a lot more single digit games. So I could see James Harden taking that step back, and I think Josh Giddey as maybe now the best playmaking shooting guard we have. And it's not just that; it's he's a great rebounder. His percentages, he shot 7.5% better this year than he did last year, and he upped his 3-pointer by
Wow.
7%, I think. So he took massive jumps from his rookie year. He's now almost a 50% field goal shooter, 35% 3-point shooter almost. So I could 100% see him taking another step and getting even better. So that's why I have Josh Giddey it for. I know it's controversial, but I like it.
No, it's
I
not a bad
love
pick.
honestly, what makes me like Josh Giddey is kind of the same thing I like about Anthony Edwards. It's the determination to get better, the willpower to keep going. And Josh Giddey almost played 80 games last year. So like these are players who are constantly in the gym working on their game. So that's why I got Josh Giddey here.
Do you think if Josh Giddey makes this jump, that the Thunder not only make the playoffs but make it out of the first round?
I think the Thunder are making it out to at least the second round next year. Let me not say at least, but I do think the Thunder are making it to the second round next year.
Final champions,
Yep.
Oklahoma City Thunder.
Josh Giddey Finals
Um,
MVP.
wild.
Yeah.
um, okay, well, I don't dislike the pick. I think it's a reach, but I would love to see it if Josh Giddey did make that jump.
Hey,
He's
listen,
one of the few people who can. So
yeah, I feel like you gotta have at least one reach out there. So mine's Josh Giddey. I believe in you.
my number five is not controversial. I don't know. I think a lot of people might pick him here, but he's on that same note. It's probably a 50-50 flip here. I got Desmond Bain at number five. So we're looking at a season where John Morant is suspended 20 games. So he's going to have a
Mm,
scoring load on him for the first part of that season. And he just got paid. A lot of people, like, they start dying down once they get the first bag,
yeah,
but
it's
that's
true.
not the Memphis mentality. Memphis is a very grinded out city and has a lot to
Yeah.
prove. So I think that he's only going to get better. The T Rex strikes again, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league.
No, that's
Sorry.
that's fair. No, that's very fair. Honestly, he is one of the more underrated players in the NBA, in my opinion. Now that being said, now that he got that massive bag, he may no longer be underrated. But as far as like the mob's mentality, I think he's a little underrated. So at five here, I have Jalen Brown, and I realize it's probably
Oh,
like
I can't believe I left Jalen off my list.
yeah, and
Okay.
it's probably like unthinkable to have Josh Giddey above Jalen Brown, but I did it. So I think
Aren't
Jalen
you
Brown's
Jalen
a
Brown's
good.
biggest hater?
Oh, I hate Jalen Brown. Yeah, but he's still a top five talent. I'm just a realist.
That's
Okay,
the
I am a
I.
realist. I don't think Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum will not win a championship together unless there's another superstar thrown in there. Now if they somehow get
Kristaps
some
Porzingis.
I don't count him as a superstar, but we'll see. We'll see. I do actually think that's going to make things a lot easier for Jalen Brown. And I don't know. I don't like Jalen Brown because of the fact that he cannot hold on to the ball. Like it makes him very difficult. His shot to me, he seems like a I don't know. I don't like the opposite of to me he's the opposite of Josh Giddey and oh gosh, why am I drawing a blank? Josh Giddey and Anthony Edwards. Sorry, I thought got lost for a second. But like to me, they're like, I'm gonna get in the gym. I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna do all this, and I don't know. Jalen Brown just seems. I'm not saying he doesn't care about basketball, but he seems like he's cool with how things are going. I think 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
ago he said that they were gonna win 7 championships in the next 8 years or something like that. Yeah, no,
Hmm.
they would be blessed to have one. They got 2 more seasons to win 5 championships. I don't think it's happening.
Jalen Brown. I think he really only didn't make my list because I didn't know what next season's going to look like for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
just
he
I don't
may
know. The
not even be in
Celtics,
Boston. We'll have to
while
see.
while they are like consistently almost making it to the finals or making it to the finals, they feel so stagnant. Like
Yeah,
it's championship or bust for them, and they feel stale.
and I have to
I
me
don't know.
okay. When Jaylen Brown came in, he had a good rookie season. He had a very good second season, and I honestly like you have not seen improvement since then. So I don't know. We'll
Mm.
see.
I would have rather kept Marcus Smart.
Over
Is that
Jaylen
wild?
Brown. Over
Like
Jaylen
I
Brown.
would have brought in a different star to pair with Jason Tatum and kept Marcus Smart.
Oh well, I guess it just depends on who you bring in for Jaylen Brown. But I mean,
Would you
I'm not a
trade
big
Jalen Brown
Jaylen
for
Brown.
Desmond Bain?
Would I?
Yeah.
Ironically, I so I would have to double check the contract links. Last year, yes. Now that Desmond Bane's getting that bag, I might have to reconsider.
Yeah, I don't know if the contracts would match for
But
this year. Maybe no, I don't know if they would,
Desmond Bain makes a
but that
lot
would
of
be
sense to
interesting.
me on a good team because Desmond Bain can space the floor, and Jaylen Brown can space the floor. But I do like the play style of Desmond Bain better than Jaylen Brown, so I might would take it honestly.
I do have one honorable mention on this list. I didn't think I was going to have one, but this is a player that if a certain trade happens, they could take a big jump in their game, and that's Tyler Hero. I think that if he gets traded, especially in that Dame train, Tyler Hero in Portland would have full reins and would be a special talent. I think he's better right now. This is a bold
Mm-hmm.
statement for one of them, but right now I think he's better than Shaden Sharp, and I think he's better than Anthony Simons. Um, so I know that's tough, but I think the only reason Tyler Hero isn't getting the shine is because he plays in Miami, and they have a lot of talent on that roster.
Yeah, but they're a team that needs offensive production. So I don't know. I'm not gonna say I disagree. I'm not gonna say I agree with it, but I'm not gonna say it's a horrible take either. It could be. We'll just
I
have
don't
to
know.
wait and see.
I think he has a lot left in the tank. He could really make a
Oh,
step up.
I
That's all I'm
agree. I think
saying.
he can improve
Um,
too, but
all right, so that wraps up our shooting guard segment, and now we're going to go into our draft of the top hated, most hated NBA players.
all right. So we're flipping a
So
coin for
here we
that,
go.
right?
I'm going to flip a coin.
All right.
Steven
There's
said I
all
have
the
one
pressure
shot
on
at
him.
this. Do you want
Yep,
heads,
one shot. Yeah, I'll take.
heads or
I'll take
tails?
heads.
It is tails. I want to show the
Dang it.
proof. Like,
No, I believe you. All right.
see,
So
yeah, the
since
Montana.
this is only a two-person draft,
Okay.
are we just going back and forth? Like you draft, I draft, you
Yeah, we're
draft.
going back and
Yeah,
forth. We're not serpentining. It's not
yeah. I
really
mean,
necessary.
it's two people, so
People are gonna hate my first pick, Steven. I've
I'm gonna
been
be mad if
threading
you take
saying
my first
this.
guy.
My number one pick in the 2023 most hated NBA players draft is none other than, I hate to say it, but Kobe Bean Bryant. This is not a current statement. I want to clarify recent events. There's been an outpouring of love for Kobe. But
Just
if
slowly
we go,
disappear.
he's gone. If we go out to the first half of Kobe's career, um, Kobe was hated, man. I
Mhm.
remember hating Kobe because he was just so dominant. Your team lost because of Kobe. He won 3 championships. He didn't care what the media thought about him. He would say what's ever on his mind. He wasn't a PR guy. Now, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. I have nothing but love for Kobe, but in terms of NBA history, Kobe goes down as one of the most hated NBA players of all time.
All right. So
Not
all
in
I
terms of his current legacy.
right no, I all I will add to that is that greatness is often hated. So like you said early in his
Yeah,
career, most of the
exactly.
time you lost because of you lost to the Lakers because of Kobe because Kobe was like, I'm going to beat you by myself. Like he was like, I can do it all by myself. So I get your stance, I really do. But I'm gonna go in a different
I
direction for
don't. I
my
didn't want to put him number one, but I
no.
had to. It just like there was other people I could put one, but he was going to be on the list. So
No, I get you. Recency bias has done Kobe very well, and obviously he went through some controversy in his first couple of seasons, or midway through his NBA career. So that didn't help. But yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm glad I didn't have to do it, but I get it.
Kobe and number 8, first years of 24.
Yeah. So
So
what
there you
I
go.
will
All
do
right.
is I'm going to take definitely a less known player, but in my mind, probably the most hated player in NBA history, Bill Laimbeer.
Okay.
Now, I think the only reason he
Yeah.
may fall down a list is because he played in the 80s. Like, that might be the only reason why he's not up slightly higher. But there's a clip, and I encourage you to watch it. Now, the unbiased NBA fan, if someone gets punched in the face while they're not like in a fighting stance, like I'm not paying attention to you, come up to me and punch me, all of the sympathy is going to be with me and the hatred is going to be towards you. Well, that's not what happened with Bill Laimbeer. He got punched. He wasn't even paying attention, gets punched, and the fans cheered that someone finally got Bill Laimbeer. That's how much this man was hated. He wasn't even fighting anyone, and he got punched in the face for no reason, and people cheered. This man was the most like he was ready to fight at all times. He was a dirty player, so I'm gonna take Beer
No,
Lambier
that's a
number
great
one.
pick. A lot of my picks hinge on greatness. Well, not a lot
Then
too.
our lists are gonna be very different than that.
Well, I would say it's 50-50 for me.
Right,
Number
yeah.
2 is on greatness, but it's also because of a lot of career moves. I'm satisfying Chris by my number 2 pick being Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he's on my list
I
for
think
sure.
he is extremely hated. like
Mm-hmm.
just he said, "Oh, what LeBron did in the villain role? Nah, I'm gonna make that move twice or three times as bad and join the greatest team of all time
Oh yeah,
to
it's
win
not
my
even comparable.
championships."
Yeah,
Like that man, I don't have anything personal against Kevin Durant, but he ruined the NBA for 3 years. Like, I mean, the watchability of it. You knew what the finals were going to be.
yeah. No one's ever
So
rooted
I
for the
yeah, Kevin Durant.
Raptors that hard until they were going against Kevin Durant and the Warriors. Like it was crazy.
People didn't even know the Raptors existed. Started pulling for him.
Exactly.
Like,
I so
um,
I agree with you. I can't remember if I had him second or third on my list. I'll have to double check, but 100% agree with the pick there. To me, the biggest difference, and I think people realize this between what LeBron did and what Kevin Durant did, and even like if you want to go back a little bit further and do like Paul Pierce, which Paul Pierce was on the Celtics, but like the Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen team up in
he was
Boston,
almost on the
is
list.
the
Yeah.
Celtics were I can't remember if they were the bottom, but I know they were the bottom third of the NBA. They were awful, and then that big three came together, so they were awful the year before. Same with the Heat; they were not a good team. Then LeBron and Bosh joined. The Warriors were a championship team that had just won 73 games, and he joins them. So he has to be the most. I get it. It's a great pick, Kevin Durant here. So I'm actually going to go with his
He,
teammate Draymond Green for my second pick.
he was on
They're
my
hated.
list.
Yeah, they're hated for two different reasons. Obviously, Draymond Green was a say. Honestly, everything goes in Draymond Green's favor to be like a liked player. He was a second round pick that ended up being much better than people thought. He was a good hustle guy. I love
Mm.
to see the hustle guys. But what Draymond Green has done with how many dirty plays, he's gotten into fights with teammates. He got in a fight with Kevin Durant. Jordan Poole punched him in the face. Like I think there may not be a more hated. And then now all of a sudden, I think a lot of people have hated Draymond Green because he now like he was like this adversary of LeBron James. Then he went to start hyping him up, and I think people would just no matter what angle you look at Draymond Green, I think you can find something to hate, like whether it be his dirty play, the things he says, the thing he does. Like, so I'm gonna pick Draymond Green here with my
did you
number two
note
pick.
his? Did you note his kick to the crotch?
Oh,
That
I don't
doesn't
even
help
know if I
either.
said that when I said dirty plays, but yeah.
Yeah, that
The
was a
fact that you
big
can point
one.
at multiple different things that he injured a player by hitting them in the crotch, it wasn't just one time. Like, one time is bad because it was very much intentional what he did to Steven Adams, but then he follows it up and hits LeBron James in the crotch. And honestly, probably cost the Warriors that championship that year when he got suspended for hitting
Yeah,
LeBron. So, I mean, I
yeah,
even
no,
think
that's
Seth's told me he's a Warriors fan, and like he likes Draymond, but like at the same time, it's probably his least liked player on the Warriors because of like all the controversial stuff. So like even not all Warriors fans are sold on him. So I'm gonna put Draymond
yeah.
right here.
He's the heart of the team. Though
Yeah,
it's
he is
crazy.
though.
It's
He
wild.
is.
So this next pick, number 3, it brings me no joy. And I really don't want to pick it. It's not an exciting pick. It's like, oh, he picked that guy. But I'm taking LeBron James at 3
Bro, you
because,
have a
like, right
stacked
now,
roster right
LeBron
now.
LeBron is the golden child of the NBA, or at the moment. Yeah, he's going into his older years where, like, man, LeBron's not going to be around much longer. But just talk to someone in Ohio prior to 2016, and they're going to say, nah, forget LeBron. But really, the whole NBA, they were furious when the big 3 came together, and people were burning his jersey, and that on top of how good he is, like they were
Mm.
like they just created. LeBron was the biggest villain of the NBA for a big
Until Kevin
stretch
Durant,
because
yeah,
of
for
that one
sure.
decision, and because of how much he hyped up his decision. I think Kevin Durant kind of saved LeBron in terms of the
Oh
villain
yeah,
role.
yeah, yeah.
They kind of
He said, "I'll take that."
kind of memory watched us.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So it's not a flashy pick. It's nothing special. But when you're in the GOAT conversation, you're going to be one of the most hated. For that reason, Michael Jordan will not be on my list, but it could have just as easily been here or there. But less people hate Michael Jordan, I think, because of his loyalty. I think that
Right.
does bring a win in. Which same could
Yeah.
be said to Kobe, but I think LeBron made a lot of people mad because of how much he changed the game too. So he made organizations mad and individuals mad. So
No, I like the pick. I'm just glad that this is a most hated draft and that our teams are not going to be going head to head because I have Draymond Green as my best player on my team right now, and you drafted LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Kobe. So, I've gone.
it doesn't stay this way.
Yeah, I'm just glad that this is a most hated draft. So I went with the older player with Bill Laimbeer. I took a current player, Draymond Green. I'm gonna go back one to Meta World Peace, back to a former player.
Ooh,
I just there's okay. So Meta World Peace was a player that was like, do I want to add him? Because like, there's some funny moments with him, and like maybe that might get, but like, no player has served a longer suspension in the NBA or got a single like a suspension handed at one time the Meta World Peace has, and that was for the Malice at the Palace, which will probably go down as one of the worst like PR things that's happened to the NBA. You had players literally
to be
like
fair,
fighting. Yeah,
OJ Mayo never came back from his suspension, so he could have rivaled him.
that is fair. That is fair. I think what okay, so
But no,
yeah, no, that's fair. I think what was his suspension though? Was it indefinite or
it
was it a
was
certain
1 or 2
amount?
years for drug use. I think it was 2 years,
Or were
honestly.
this I don't
But
yeah.
he was never reinstated. So,
Right,
oh,
yeah.
he
Well,
could have been reinstated, but he
from what
never
I
chose
saw
to
on
come
my
back.
list, I
So
didn't actually go back and look at every single NBA suspension.
no,
It
you're
said,
right. I
yeah.
mean, Ron Artest came back, so I think that does make it the longest suspension.
Yeah, Ron Artest, Meta World Peace. Maybe you even hate him because of the fact that he went by multiple different names. I don't know. But I know for a fact he was a pretty dirty player. Now, he had some good years, too. I think maybe that might have hurt him, too. But you got him elbowing James Harden in the face, the Malice at the Palace. There's there's multiple. I'm going to leave it there because there's a couple other things I don't want to quite say on the podcast. But if you want to look into Meta World Peace, there's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of things that he did that was not necessarily great for the NBA. So I'm going to take him right here at number 3.
No, that's an excellent pick. He's on my honorable mentions. Could
Mm-hmm.
everyone on my honorable mentions could have just as easily been on my list.
That's fair.
But I have the thing about the Malice at the Palace is, man, he messed up big time. But I
Mm.
feel bad for him because he
Nah,
was trying to stay out of it. He tried so hard. He was laying on this announcer's table, just trying to, and then a guy just goes and pours a beer on him, and that set him
it was
off.
it was
But
raps. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I do feel a little bad about how all that went down, but yeah, I mean that's
he's still got to know how to control his emotions.
yeah for sure, and
Yeah,
especially when if that's an average Joe and like you're ripped, like you can absolutely
you're like
destroy
a
him, and he
six
did.
foot
Yeah,
whatever.
and like worked out. Yeah, so that was not good for him or the NBA. So that's my number
That
3
fan
pick.
was the dumbest person on the planet. I think he's got
I
to be
wouldn't have
up
done
there.
that personally, but
Not not to him. So number 4 was going to be Draymond Green. You made me change
Uh,
my pick. I'm going to pick someone who filled a similar role on another great championship team. I'm putting Dennis Rodman here.
ah.
Um, People either didn't like Dennis. Dennis Rodman was a bully on the court,
Mm-hmm.
both verbally and physically. You could not grab a rebound over him, which probably made taller people mad. But on top of that, he was also controversial off the court because of his stylistic choices. So
Mm.
he was very progressive in how he chose to carry himself. So that made a lot of fans mad. On top of that, especially for the time period he was in. So I think he brings an overall like dislike. And being part of one of the greatest dynasties of all time definitely doesn't add in your favor of being one of the most
Yeah.
likable players when people can't beat you.
Yeah, and Kim. I mean, he's friends with Kim Jong Un, so like that lets you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
that
one of
doesn't
the
help
last
either.
few world dictators, and he'll go and visit him and visit North Korea. That kind of lets you know all you need to know about him. So yeah, I can't say I disagree with the pick. um, so honestly, my last pick, I would have really liked to take LeBron. Obviously, I can't. So I'm gonna go with a little bit more of a recent player. It's kind of funny because a lot of times greatness is hated. So I'm gonna go with the NBA player that I'm not gonna say hasn't done anything in the NBA because he's had a decent career. And honestly, making the NBA for being in the NBA is an achievement. Being in the NBA for 5 years is a
Yeah.
great achievement, even if you're a bench player. So I'm gonna take Grayson Allen here. This one is harder to it's
Oh,
harder to take because of the fact that I think many people might even not know who Grayson Allen is. But it just seems like every time Grayson Allen gets in the good graces of people, he's tripping them. I mean, what he did to Alex Caruso was all over the internet for when the Alex Caruso was going up for
you
that
can't
dunk,
do
and
that. To,
nah, you can't take someone
you can't
out
do that
mid
to
flight.
Alex Caruso.
Yeah, but
Can't
Alex
do it to
Caruso
him
is
though.
the
People love
people's
Alex.
champion. Yeah, so I just
Yeah,
think Grayson
like
Allen has too many incidences of tripping, intentionally hurting, kind of being like the. I mean, I don't want to, but he kind of it comes across of like a spoiled brat type of thing where he complain. So I
hmm
think
coming out of
I
Duke, especially.
yeah, and then you can go back to Duke. I mean, like he's had multiple events in the NBA where him was it him and Trey Young. I'm trying to think who in the summer league he
I
like
think it
pretty much got into a
was.
fight. I think it was him and Trey Young got into a fight, and then you can go back to college and look at the tripping and the different things like that. And I'm pretty sure he injured a player pretty badly in college. So there's all kinds of events you could look at with Grayson Allen. So I'm going to take Grayson Allen here, and Duke is hated, so that might even carry a little extra hate. So
Hmm.
Grayson Allen at
Yeah,
4 for
he's
me.
is Grayson Allen the counterpart to Alex Caruso?
He may
I've never
be.
made this connection for.
Honestly,
I
like
feel
look at
like
the
he's the villain too.
I was gonna say look at the hair, complete opposites. The
Yeah,
Grayson Allen's more offensive,
it's
Alex
wild.
Caruso's
Never
more
thought about it.
defensive. Yeah. Everyone loves Alex Caruso, hates Grayson Allen. Could be. Alright, so
It's
number
just
five to
fascinating. Never thought
you.
about it before. Further research on that will be conducted later. Number 5 is my favorite pick on my list. I think, just because it's a he was going to be on my list regardless of everything. Number 5 is Kevin Garnett.
Okay.
He absolutely just he was hated beyond measure, and it's different. It's different to be hated by like other teams you play against, but Kevin Garnett was also hated by a lot of his teammates,
Mm.
which that's like a different level. Not many players cross that barrier. If you were caught on your phone in the locker room, he would put your phone in the toilet. Like, who does that? Like, that's problematic. And like Kevin Garnett, man, he had his moments. I love him as an athletically as a player and what he accomplished on the court. But if I had to share a locker room with Kevin Garnett, I don't know that I'd ever talk to him again.
Nah, that's fair. So I have to say, I had a trio of players that are very hated, but I didn't want to include
Mm-hmm.
them because I like the players. So it was Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, and Larry Bird. Overall, those players have a lot of people who don't like them, who are
Yeah.
haters toward them, but I like them. So I just like I can't include them. So I get it though. Kevin Garnett definitely has many a haters. So all right,
Oh
well
yeah.
I'm
I was trying
gonna
to be a impartial.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But honestly, good on you for being able to do that. So, with my last pick, honestly, I feel like Grayson Allen might have been a little bit of a weaker pick, and I feel like this might be a little bit of a weaker
No.
pick because he doesn't have the history of being hated. However, I think this year alone has really increased his stock, and I'm going to go with Dylan Brooks. Um, First of all, he's just the
Oh
guy that
yeah.
everyone loves to hate Dylan Brooks, I would say. It's like a universal thing. Even if you got nothing against Dylan Brooks, you might want to just fit in by adding some hate onto the hate pile for him. So I think Dylan Brooks has said some stupid stuff, thinks he's better than he is. And he's got a little bit of the Grayson Allen problem where he seems a little bit spoiled, like a spoiled brat to me, where like a
Hmm.
lot of players will say something and if they back it up they'll be like hey, you can't say anything to him, he backed up what he said. Or if they can't back it up, we'll take responsibility. No, when Dylan Brooks says I don't respect LeBron, I don't respect him until he drops 40 on me, LeBron drops 40 on him and then refuses to talk to anyone after that. He gets fined by the NBA for not having a press conference. He skipped the press conference.
Petty.
You seem kind of weak.
Childishness.
Yeah, he's got all this. There's literally a
Yeah.
song about Dylan Brooke about why are they paying him so much. Houston fans are probably mad now because they got him for 4 more years, $80 million. Memphis literally made him
Mhm.
his scapegoat. He said stupid stuff. He's injured players. He's gotten suspended. He has a couple moments where he hit a dude in the crotch. I think he's done it 2 or 3 times. I think it's enough. It all adds up to be enough as number 5 on my list.
That's a great pick. Um, I think with Dylan, honestly, what made me not like Dylan Brooks is gonna sound so stupid, but it's like his appearance changes just irked me so much. I know that sounds dumb, but it's like he's like, I want to start dressing like the villain and trying to look all cool when I'm not the you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if that
Yeah, I
makes
get
sense.
you.
He just tried to create himself into a persona that he had no implication of being before this
Right,
year.
or I had no
So
business. Yeah.
so much like it felt like just all felt like a publicity stunt. And I don't know if this was Dylan Brooks' PR team, but they did a good job because they got him paid. So I mean,
Yeah,
I
for
guess
real.
success.
And talked about a lot, just not in the most positive of lighting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now that we finished up our draft, I do. I told you about it. I have some list from I think it's actionnetwork.com. They did. They showed the players. The top 10 players with the highest percentage of negative tweets. And I have
Uh-huh.
2 other things to show you, but we can go over that first. Who do you think's number one for last year? Highest percentage of negative
Would it
tweets.
be Dylan Brooks?
Um, Dylan Brooks and Kevin Durant are not on this particular list.
Wow. How far
These
does it go? How
players
many
had a
people does it
percentage
include?
of 10.
10.
This
Wow.
list of player contains the players with the highest percentage of tweets, which are deemed as negative. Percentage, not number.
Huh. I don't know. Would Jordan Poole be up there? I know a lot of people hated on him for that shot that he took that kind of knocked the Warriors out.
He's not on the list either.
I mean, I
You want to
wouldn't
know
think
who
he
it
would.
is?
Yeah, please tell me.
I'm not going to give you like the .03. I'm just going to give you the round number. Marcus Smart, 41% was
All
one.
right, Marcus Smart is an
Number
honorable
two,
mention, and so was Patrick Beverly.
yeah.
Are they? Is he up
Oh,
there too
yeah.
or no?
He was No, he's neither
Uh
one of them. Oh, Marcus Smart is, of course, but Pat Bev isn't.
right.
Number two is Draymond,
Uh
38%. Number three might shock you.
yeah, I
Number
have no
three
idea.
is Bam Adebayo with 37%.
I guess maybe because he didn't score
Uh,
very much in the playoffs. I don't know.
maybe because he made the final. Yeah, he more. Yeah. Four, Trey Young, 37%. Number five, Jimmy Buckets, 36%.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Trey Young
Number
is an
six,
honorable
Warrant,
mention, but I didn't think of the other two.
the villain of New York.
Yeah.
Uh, number six, Ben Simmons, 36%.
I don't know how I didn't think of him.
Fair. Number seven, another shocker. I think it's because it was underperforming. Number seven, Chris Paul, 36%.
Yeah, Chris Paul's a very hated player.
You might have contributed to this one. Number eight,
Jaylen
Jalen
Brown.
Brown,
Yes, sir. That's where
35%.
all of those were my tweets.
Number 9 is Rudy Gobert, 34% warranted,
Yeah.
underperforming season. Number 10, Jason Tatum, 34%. They just
Hmm.
don't like the Celtics. I mean, I think
Well,
that's what that list shows.
yeah.
But the number of people with the highest total negative tweets is a completely different list for the most part. There's a few crossover.
Hmm.
I won't give the numbers. I'm just going to list them out for you.
Uh-huh.
Number 1, this person also had the highest total of positive tweets. It's LeBron James. No doubt.
Yeah. If you talked about it
Like
enough, yeah.
2, John Morant. 3, Ben Simmons. 4, Trey Young. 5, surprised he fell this low, Kevin Durant.
Mm.
6, Kyrie Irving. 7,
Didn't
James
think about
Harden.
Kyrie.
8, Stephen Curry. 9, Chris Paul. 10, Jimmy Butler. But those are all big name stars. That's by the numbers. So total
Right.
numbers.
So and they'll have
So
the
they could
most
have just
tweets
as
about them.
many
Yeah.
or positive. So,
Mm-hmm.
but here's the players with the lowest negative sentiment. The following table shows the player with the lowest percentage of negative tweets directed at them. Considering the high amounts of tweets targeting Steph Curry, it might come as a surprise that he's on this list, but the sheer percentage of the negative tweets is low. So
No, that makes sense.
number one, the lowest negative sentiment, Donovan Mitchell. He had 24%. 2, CJ McCollum. He had 6%. Number 3, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 26%. 4, I wouldn't expect this person to be this high. Is Kawhi Leonard at 26%. People apparently don't dislike Kawhi, even though he doesn't play.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest Kawhi Leonard haters. So he must not have tweeted very much.
Number 5 is Nikola Jokic with 27%. 6 is Darius Garland with 27%. Oh yeah, they like their European star. Well, not Joel Embiid, but
right. Yeah, he's
well. Yes,
African.
He's not. I guess he's African. I guess if you're not from Europe, then it doesn't count. International players is what I was thinking of. So Darius Garland 27%. 7, Stephen Curry 27%. 8, DeMontis Sabonis 28%.
Another European
9,
star.
this is surprising. 9 is a shocker. While I'm considering the situation. Zion Williamson 28%.
That is. I'm surprised many people are not hating on him.
Last one, number 10, Bradley Beal, 28%.
Huh. Interesting. Maybe the Suns added Bradley Beal. Yeah, maybe they added Bradley Beal to be a more liked team. I don't know.
They're like, we need some PR moves.
Yeah.
That list being read out might have been kind of boring, but I thought it was fascinating.
No, it's interesting.
Who in Twitter?
There was a lot of players that I figured would be there, but there were some surprises that I did not see.
Yeah, there were some. I was like, how are they on this list?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add of substance to this episode?
Other than Josh Giddey being better than Jaylen Brown, that's about all I got, to be honest.
I love it. That's what we should end out on. So Josh Giddey, if you're out there, we love you. Your 2K appearance in 23 was beloved. And we wish you a great, prosperous offseason.
Yes,
to
sir.
be better than Jaylen Brown next year.
Yep.
All right. We'll catch you next time on Let the Play Develop.